So it was. You surmounted the harbor wall in a display of athletic prowess to reach my superior, eyes in his childlike way. Babe, see that they stay here the whole time.
You hear that? That sound. He's breaking something.
Yeah, Jean-Luc must be really tearing it up over there. I wish I could see it.
Look at you! RCM rent-a-cops! Guarding that bridge like Everott's lapdogs! Is this where it's at now? The RCM is for sale!
And who are you? What is your business here? Why are your clothes 4 sizes too small for you?
A shrill laughter interrupts you, echoing across Martinez. It's the man turns to look behind him at the behemoth appearing around the corner, approaching him, walking past him. The corpse lies on the ground among the remains of an absolutely demolished pinewood branch. It's gently laid on one side.
Mr. Measurehead has done a good job. Nothing is too broken or compromised. The victim is ready. Yes. 1. Investigation of the scene. 2. Initial examination of the victim. 3. Field.
The RCM's 4-phase murder scene processing man.
The fuck are they on about?
Cop's gonna cut his shit up!
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
Come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them.
What you do know is, at 18.9 kilometers, the dormant shield volcano, Corpus Mundi, is the world's highest summit. And the failure of the 38... You must have me confused with the Copperpedia. You, sir, you are the Copperpedia.
There truly is a time for everything, even for yellow gardening gloves. However, they are lacking hygienically. I suggest you get in there in limited capacity. I'll ask you when I need you to. For the most part, maybe I should handle the contact and you take notes? That's right.
Yeah, we got this. We're smart.
That's you.
The corpse is indifferent to your scribblings.
KK57-0803.
KK equals Kim Kitsuragi. 57 equals Precinct 57, followed by his date, 0803, and time of arrival. That's because he doesn't want to bring up the messy question of your initials.
And what would that make the alphanumeric?
HDB 41, 0803. Help me out with the time of day, anyone? 1111. It's meaningful. 1015. It's understated.
Good. Let's go with that.
The lieutenant is quite surprised you managed to come up with an adequate case number.
NA. Next. NA. Roughly 50.
Dry 40. The damage is so extensive, it's better to err on the young side. He nods.
Mondial.
Fair to olive-skinned, from the Isola of Muindi. This is as vague as the pudgy mess of curdled meat. Looks neither mondial nor anything other.
Fucky!
Male.
Pigs can have sex!
Nor does he look male, with his pregnant belly and indistinguishable face.
We're still going with March 4th. 51. What else? 9. Body identified by is non-applicable. 10. Case number is the same as the coroner's case.
HDB 41 0803.11.
None. At least not after the initial examination. Interfering with the body's position or wounds post-mortem.
Don't overdo it. It's okay to be unsure.
They'd have to have incapacitated and carried him over. This man was more than a match for untrained dog walkers.
Your central nervous system recognizes this gesture. It's the stations of the breath. Ecclesiastic, religious in nature, a holdout from somewhere in Jamrock North, a small wood shed behind Rosencrantz Row. Lieutenant Nick Feuerbat puts his hand to the chest of a small, elsewhere yet, an obese female sits in a wicker chair, her silhouette bull-like against the window. Outside, Grand Coudon, and so, all across Jamrock, Coal City, Grih.
We should start the post-mortem.
The corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with it.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodine, I think. Let's see.
See, it's happening.
Babrodine, yes. Inexpensive. Size M. Color white.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting.
The boots are ceramic, vitreous enamel. They are fused to his skin from blood flowing downward post-mortem. The boot has a serial number. It's E50.100.100. Tattoos. The upper torso is covered in a single, continuous tattoo, resembling a map of the night sky. It reaches. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings, to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken. The deceased has a belt for airlifting cargo around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color yellow. Well-nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters. Generally consistent with age. Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with the age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short.
The hair under your latex fingers feels cold to touch. Wet. The stench is suffocating. Strands of dark brown hair start sticking to the latex of the glove, like thread of...
Lividity is consistent with hanging. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head, chest, and thighs, consistent with stone.
Fucking low velocity. You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking max. Talking shit about Kuno's velocity.
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest, consistent with predation. Ligature mark. The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the belt so we can get to the ligature mark.
You got just the right tool for that. The chain cutters. You jam the cutters right under the knot. That seems like a smart idea. Yeah, somewhere there. Already they're buried deep in the man's flesh. Then you rotate them to get a better hold. Then, the lieutenant looks by, somewhat worried as you summon power words to your aid.
I should have a go first. I think I have a strategy.
He sinks the cutters into the knot, preparing to perform the cuts, with his elbow to his knee for precision. Snap. The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a...
Here. The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck, on the nape. Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from... Chest is intact, normal contour. Abdomen is protuberant. Pelvis in...
No! It's gonna happen, see!
I fucking knew it!
This is clearly what they've been waiting for, ever since the autopsy.
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury.
The dead man's penis is average-sized, congested from the downward collection of blood. The testicles are uneven in length.
Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin.
From wounds sustained over 2, maybe more decades, dispersal and accumulation indicates long and active combat.
We have a real museum here. Last item, hands. Hands are clean. No sign of a recent struggle. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Honestly, this stench is making it hard for me to think. Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next? Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything on this man's central nervous system?
Of course, there is a moral to be drawn from it. A moral to this story.
What would that be?
The dead man looks, too, with barely contained excitement to hear the moral of...
I think that may well be the moral of every story, officer.
Thank you for lightening his mood. It's hard down there.
Good. Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury related. Eyes and tongue protuberant.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently.
Yeah, jack that fucker off!
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Respiratory system. Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen. Hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips.
No scream, no sigh of relief rises from the darkness inside. It's humid there. It's hard. Once more, you taste stomach acid in the back of your throat. Inside, you see darkness.
There are ancient mysteries down there, Kobo. Ask me later.
Hemorrhaging present in mucus. Hepatobiliary, NA. Are you a hepatobiliary expert? Neither am I. That's it. Same for toxicology and serology, NA. Unless you have untapped reservoirs of knowledge.
Reservoirs? No, but do they take obscure trivia and odd tidbits?
No. Like a toxicology screening? At this stage, I doubt processing will find anything, even if he was brimming with cocaine. Cardiovascular. The body exhibits heavy lividity. Blood has gathered in the hands, feet, and neck. Gastrointestinal.
This will do.
Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voila. What's next on the list? Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll need 3 fields. Leave a 4th one too. Oh, so we inflicted them? Okay, so there's an incision on the thorax from a chain cutter. I wouldn't mention it. Better not to muddy the waters.
See? These pigs are fucking corrupt.
Why don't you fuck him if you love him so much?
Now, injuries. Head, chest, and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body. And your opinion, officer? Agreed. Next injury? So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response.
At maximum velocity, fucko!
Has confessed to causing it at maximum velocity.
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man, beneath the description of injury.
Right. Next? Nothing. Just in case.
The corpse lay slouched to the side, oblivious to its surroundings.
Shoot, Looney Rooney. Oh yes, Kobo mi Lobo. In the gift horse's mouth, just a small gulp away. My beloved Kobo, come back later. Shoot, come back later.
Alright. Bite marks, contusion, a dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring, let's say, 7 centimeters. The hyoid bone is fractured. The cervical column, I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark, 1 centimeter. No signs of...
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side. The ring around his neck is visible.
That's it. We have established cause of death. It's not much, and let's wrap this up. I pronounce this field autopsy over. Well, we established probable cause of death. We also requested a toxicological screening. That was thorough. We were thorough with the list of injuries too. We described them all in detail. What is there to say? Given the I need a copy of that autopsy form. Then I will drive him to Faubourg for processing.
He's thinking, did I miss something? You tilt your head, also looking at the corpse. I'm sure we didn't get everything. There's always something. Your arm reaches out and your eyes close, as if by their own volition. It's dark all around. You feel cold, dead. His face, his cheeks, his nose, his fat, swollen lips. Like a rubber spider, your gloved hand crawls on it. The oral cavity is cold and moist. A ball-like tongue attaches itself to the base. You're on the right track. The tongue moves freely in the cavity. The mucus of the mouth is slippery, fragile, even through the latex. From the soft meat, can you feel it? You're so close. Rip his jaws open now. Look, a vision of black and dark red death, pried open by your hands and studded with teeth. Looks like he's laughing. You see a hole, barely visible to the human eye. It is swollen shut, almost vanished. No larger than 0.4 centimeters in radius, the edges appear darkened. An abrasion collar. This is what we're after.
Abrasion collar.
Kuno is silent. A black trickle of liquid runs into his throat from the wound. Your index fits right in there. A tight tunnel of flesh opens up. Tissue damage. Wide enough for 2 fingers. As you push both in, you reach through his mouth, right into his brainstem.
The fuck is happening?
Ah, shit, see?
Yes, that's what this part is called. The basal ganglia feels clumpy. What entered here has torn apart his reptilian. This man will never sleep again. Your yellow fingers slide into the remains of the limbic system. There is no resistance. It's gelatinous. The slug-like structures are damaged too. The lieutenant answers with the sound of his pen on paper.
Fucking cavity, see?
Quivering with awe. Your fingers are all the way in now, reaching toward the inside of his skull. The cavity goes further, but the entry wound isn't wide enough for the rest of your hand to follow. Your fingers reach toward his skull. His cerebral cortex feels like jelly. Cold jelly. Strange fluid, ice-cold serrated metal. Its edges cut right through the latex and into your finger.
Can you get to it?
There's a tiny crack, a protrusion in the cranium, right in the back of his head. Your finger must be pointing straight at it, from the inside. The object that is in there stops just short of the skull, in the encephalus, knocking this tiny
We have the makings of very small exit.
Forget about the fucking exit wound, Beano. The pig is...
Her voice is absolutely sizzling with excitement. You pick the object between your index and middle finger. It feels sharp, like metal. With your face twisting from pain and concentration, all you need to do is just... The inside of the head feels cold and smooth, like a glove, sweat dripping down your brow. Careful not to lose the prize between your fingers. With a plop, your hand emerges from the mouth. The garden glove is covered in blood right up to the wrist. Between your fingers, a small flower, a blossom made of lead.
fucking beautiful!
A bullet.
The bullet falls in the bag, leaving a smattering of blood on the plastic. Erases.
A non-caliber. Rifle. Some kind of brittle alloy. Fractured on impact. Of course, you deserve it. We need to add an item to the injury list. Injury number 4. Oval entry wound with an abrasion color. Soft palate, back of mouth. High velocity. Temporary cavity in brain tissue. Small exit wound on the occiput. How does that sound? Opinion, fatal injury. And one last thing. We should amend injury number 3. Ligament mark. New opinion, non-fatal. Post-mortem.
He's proposing the bullet was the real cause of death, and the hanging an attempt to conceal this fact.
Treatment, officer, is an attempt to manipulate the body after death, to hide the real cause with this injury here. Yes, and the belt around his neck, the hanging, even dragging him to the yard. All of it was done after this man was already dead. I have had my doubts since you showed me the tracks. Why did they carry him over? Why not march him, I thought. There was no satisfaction. There have been other signs too. Small details. Everything is too neatly designed for us to assign probable cause here, as we did, full-heartedly. Well,
We almost fell for it, he thinks. Almost. There is, of course, the very real possibility he was both shot and hanged.
to put him out of his misery? It's possible, but it does not explain all the other dubious things here. Lack of struggle, primarily. That's for us to find out. But this, it will make finding them just a little to hide something. The real killer? The real motivation? What really happened here? Oh, you really do. I am glad to hear you say that. Your room in the Whirling in Rags should come with a bathroom. Be sure to make use of it in the evening. Yes, we should take a closer look at it.
This little thing could reveal much about the weapon that shot it.
We bag the corpse and carry him to the holding pen of my kinema. I can transport him to processing myself, but I will be gone for the rest of the day. Work on the case, tend to personal matters. Try not to do anything too dangerous. An officer needs backup. I'll leave that choice to you. And one more thing. Great work, detective.
After you bag the corpse, Lieutenant Kitsuragi will leave the party until tomorrow morning. You can do side tasks, and even the main case, but it might be more difficult. Plan his exit accordingly.
All right. I will need a little help carrying him. You take the hands, I'll take the legs.